Hey everyone, welcome back to Proficiency in Play. My name's Pip, your Dungeon Master. And this time I have a guest. I'm here with Ariel, who plays Gemma Hearthspark.
Hi guys.
So we're doing a group of what we call character spotlights, and we'll do these for NPCs, but we're going to start with the player characters, the four players who are just going to come on here with me so you guys can get to know them and see them, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the decisions that were made primarily in session zero and why they wanted to play the character they chose. So, Ariel, who is Gemma Hearthspark?
So Gemma Hearthspark is a 17-year-old female gnome. She's 7 when she was captured, and so now she's 17 after the 10-year jump. She has a deep purple amethyst hair and eyes. She's about 3'4", really, really slight. It's crazy. When I look at a yardstick and I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's how big my character
that's
is.
how big
Yeah.
my character is. Um, it's really cool. I've never never played a character of this size before. Um, she, as as we're gonna see, is very connected to her last name, Heartspark. She almost always, if not always, introduces herself with both first and last name, which is kind of seen as an oddity
Mhm.
in EOS. And that last name is really, really valuable to her because it's one of the only things she has from home. Um, she's from an agricultural community where people are known by the family they live in, and so she was raised to be very proud of being a Hearthspark. Her family owned an apple orchard that was well known in the area for having good produce, and so she just remembers her parents, even though she has very few memories of, taking pride in her last name, and that becomes such a big part of her identity. And it's just something that she holds on to. Um, Her personality, I've kind of based a lot on my own personality. She's very curious, very inquisitive, but she's very bad at communication. And so, especially here at the beginning, she's a slave. She doesn't have the ability to go in and see things for herself. She has to get all of her information secondhand or third hand. And that includes, that then becomes a whole bunch of awkward conversations
Mhm.
that she doesn't know how to get the information she wants. But she values the information enough that she's willing to try to get it.
But also has quite a skeptical nature.
Yes.
So getting this information second or third hand
Is
definitely leans into
is it true?
right.
Right, absolutely. And so it actually makes her um curiosity grow because she's heard it. It's a rumor, it's third hand. She doesn't know if it's true. Now, what clues can she find to prove it? What evidence can she find for it? Where I'm hoping as we get further along, she'll start seeing these things firsthand and she'll be making her own conclusions about them, which might be right or wrong, which is really, really exciting to see that too.
Why Gemma Hearthspark?
Oh, goodness. Um, well, I love character creation, and one of the biggest things that pulled me to Gemma Hearthspark was I really wanted to try a support character. I've played most of the D&D characters I've played have been the big, strong fighter characters. And I wanted to try my hand at a support character. And so Gemma Hearthspark came out of that.
All right, so that segues us in well to the species that you
Hmm.
chose, being pretty as far
Yeah.
opposite of that big strong
Yeah,
character as you
exactly.
can get. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So I chose Gnome, so I knew I wanted her to be really inquisitive, always having an idea of what to do next, being very fast thinking, which also drew me to Gnome as well because they're known for having that quick intelligence. Um, but what I wanted to make sure she didn't have was the capability physically of actually making everyone else do
Mhm.
what she wanted to do. Um, because I did want her to be a support character. I didn't want to kind of frontline it. And so that turns into a gnome, of course, being very small, very slight. And so instead, I have to convince my companions to do the thing, to do my idea, or I have to figure out how to make the best of the situation that they put me in.
Yeah, so a really specialized character, which is a big theme in the world of EOS, where modern day D&D often is pushing to more and more flexibility and more freedom, where you can make whatever you want to make. But in the world of EOS, we decided to really try and narrow that down so our characters are specialized in a way that will make them really shine in particular instances. Because if you have too much freedom and flexibility, you can kind of lose a little bit of character identity and specialization. So that's awesome. That leads us to the class that you chose and why you chose
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. So I'm playing the apothecary class that was homebrewed by Pip. And specifically, I'm playing. Well, do you want me to get into subclass?
Yeah, you could
Okay.
talk about what subclass you want to do.
Um, so I'll be taking the subclass at third level called Analyst. And I'm actually really, really excited. I can't remember what happened first, whether I talked to you about wanting to play someone very strategic, or whether you were like, look at this cool thing I made.
So I made the apothecary class before I talked to you, but your input definitely ironed out the analyst subclass
Yes.
specifically, which I made. Go check out the apothecary video where I get into further detail about why I thought the apothecary was a necessary class that filled a niche that just didn't exist in D&D. But the analyst subclass was heavily influenced by Ariel, who I just knew would want to play a character like that.
So it's really cool. Actually, when we showed it to the other players, they all thought that the analyst was the boring one.
It's
But
true.
it's the one I'm the most excited about because I really wanted something that, Gemma's big pieces are she's really dexterous, which is really, really great for combat scenarios. But she's also very intelligent, and that's her biggest feature. She observes, she analyzes what she sees, and I wanted to find a way to be able to use that in combat. And that's when I talked to you about wishing that there was a strategist kind of class, and then he made it for me, which was very exciting.
It's definitely a different flavor of intelligent spellcaster than something like the
Mhm.
wizard, who is very squishy, very kind of stay back and let others protect you. The apothecary, totally, and the analyst as well, is a much more get in there, do things for yourself. And in this case, the analyst is very much a tactical Overwatch kind of
Mhm.
battlefield manager that has some really unique ideas. The last thing I really want to talk about is the aspect system.
Yeah.
You guys have not seen that aspect video that's up. Please go check that out. It's one of the longer videos I've made, but it really goes into a lot of detail about why the aspect system is so integral to the game that I want to play. So, Ariel, which aspect did you pick and why?
Okay. So, when Pip presented the concept of the aspects to me, I was like, these are all cool, but none of them fit Gemma. Gemma is so self-reliant, and she has to see things and experience them firsthand to even believe that they exist. And so none of it really worked for her. And so I chose the aspect of self, which thankfully you made.
Right?
You made because I'm really looking forward to seeing Gemma interact with these other races that we're going to see pop up with their aspects. And I'm really expecting her to find a lot of value in their cultures and really appreciate the differences in their cultures, but she's never really going to, I don't think, select one of them as her culture. It's something that she
Hmm.
just devotes to and dedicates to, um, because she values the information, but she relies on herself.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Gemma Hearthspark is a gnomish apothecary, which will be taking the analyst subclass who chose the aspect of self. Why don't you, in 2 or 3 sentences, just sum up what Gemma is
Mm,
and where you'd like to see her really shine in the world of,
okay. Um, oh, 2 or 3 sentences.
or more if you want,
Ouch.
but
Um, so where she is right now is very, um, she values the truth, but she is too insecure because of how small she is, because of how people view her, both as, just coming out of this slavery mentality and her size and just everything about her. She is looked down on both figuratively and literally. Um, and she has kind of been conditioned to look down on herself,
Mhm.
but she wants to be so much more than that. She knows she feels like she's the weak link in the chain, but she doesn't want to be. She wants to be more. She knows she can't do it through strength. She knows she can't do it through, you know, brawn and the charisma. She just doesn't have that. All she has is her intelligence, and so she's going to use it the best way she can. So,
Awesome. Well, this has been a character spotlight about Gemma Hearthspark, played by Ariel. Please like this video and subscribe to make sure you catch all of the other character spotlights that will be coming out this week as well. Maybe some of them are already out because I don't know what order I'm going to release these in. But check that out so you can get faced with the name and really understand a little bit more about what our party is and why we made the decisions we made. In the future, I'll probably also do some character spotlights on some prevalent NPCs like Victor, maybe Ike, maybe Mortimer. We're starting with the player characters because they're the heroes. Thanks so,
hopefully,
hopefully.
hopefully.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.